I still remember the way my mother's voice broke when she said the words, "Sweetheart, Ethan's gone." My knees buckled. My hands shook. My world just collapsed. They said there was a car accident, that his body was beyond recognition, that I didn't need to see him. I screamed until my throat burned. I tore through our bedroom, clutching his clothes, breathing in what was left of him. And then, 2 days later, I saw him, alive, standing outside my parents' house, breathing, moving, real. At first, I thought grief had broken me, that I was hallucinating. But when his eyes met mine and he turned away like he didn't even know me, I knew something was horribly wrong. That's the moment I realized my husband hadn't died. My parents had killed something else, my trust. What would you do if your own parents told you your husband was dead while he was standing outside, alive? Would you forgive them, or make them regret every lie? Tell me in the comments. Before everything shattered, my life was beautifully ordinary. I was Harper Quinn, 28, newly married to the kindest man I'd ever known, Ethan Cole. We lived in a cozy townhouse in Denver, filled with secondhand furniture and too many plants. My parents, Diana and Robert Hayes, never approved. They said Ethan wasn't ambitious enough, that he'd hold me back. But they didn't see how he'd stay up late just to cook me dinner after his night shifts. How he made me feel safe in a world that rarely was. Over time, my parents' visits grew colder. They'd whisper behind my back, criticize Ethan's job, and guilt-trip me for settling. I tried to keep peace until that morning. I got a call from Mom, sobbing. "There's been an accident, you need to come home." When I arrived, Dad hugged me tight and said Ethan's car had flipped on the interstate. No witnesses. No survivors. They refused to let me see the body. Said it was too traumatic. I believed them. I broke apart. I spent days on the couch, staring at our wedding photo, wondering how love could end so violently. But when I saw Ethan alive, standing in their yard like a ghost, I realized my parents had done something unforgivable. I stopped eating. I stopped sleeping. My world became a blur of tears and silence. Every night, I'd talk to Ethan's voicemail, whispering how I missed him, how I couldn't breathe without him. But the night I saw him outside, everything changed. It was raining, and I had gone to my parents to grab some of Ethan's old things. That's when I spotted a man under the porch light, tall, shoulders I knew too well. "Ethan?" I gasped. He froze. Then, without a word, turned away and disappeared into the night. My mother rushed out, pale as snow. "Harper, go inside," she said too quickly. "You're exhausted. You need rest." But her eyes, they told me everything. Something dark. Something guilty. Over the next week, I started noticing things. My dad's nervous glances. My mom whispering when she thought I wasn't listening. So I dug. I found messages on my mother's phone, conversations with Ethan. She told him I wanted a divorce, that I'd moved on, that I'd begged him to leave me alone. And when he resisted, they told him I was dead. My heart cracked, not from loss, but from knowing my parents had manipulated both of us, just to keep me under their control. One night, I drove to the motel address from one of the texts. I saw him there, sitting alone, head in hands. He looked up at me, eyes wide. "Harper?" They said you were gone." We cried until dawn. And as the sun rose, I felt something shift inside me. Grief turning into fire. They thought they'd broken me. But they'd just built a woman who wasn't going to be lied to again. I didn't tell my parents I'd found Ethan. Instead, I played along, numb and quiet, pretending I was still their broken little girl. Ethan wanted to confront them, but I stopped him. "Not yet," I whispered. "Let them think they've won." For weeks, I gathered proof, screenshots, call logs, messages. Every lie, every manipulation. I even recorded a conversation with my mom where she admitted they'd protected me from a mistake. Protected me? By faking my husband's death? That's when I decided how they'd learn what loss truly felt like. I planned a dinner, a fake memorial closure night, invited my parents, and made sure they thought it was my way of healing. But that night wasn't for closure. It was for exposure. The night of the dinner, everything looked perfect. Candles. Photos of Ethan. A soft song playing. The one from our wedding. My parents arrived, misty-eyed. My mom hugged me, whispering, "You're so brave, honey." I smiled. "You haven't seen anything yet." Then I pressed play on the TV screen. Their own voices filled the room. Recordings of them admitting to lying. Texts flashing on the screen, messages where they told Ethan I never loved him. My dad went pale. My mom's hand trembled. And then, Ethan stepped out from the hallway. Alive. Breathing. Furious. My mother gasped. My father stuttered. "How could you?" asked, voice trembling. "You faked his death. You destroyed my marriage." Mom broke down, sobbing. "We just wanted what's best for you. He wasn't good enough." "Then maybe neither are you," I said quietly. I handed over a folder, copies of everything, and told them I'd already sent it to my lawyer, the police, and my father's business partners. For the first time, I saw fear in their eyes. Ethan took my hand, and we walked out, leaving them surrounded by the ashes of their lies. The next day, word spread fast. My father lost his investors. My mother's social circle turned on her. Justice didn't need a courtroom that day. It just needed truth. After that night, my life felt like standing in sunlight after years underground. Ethan and I started therapy, trying to rebuild what my parents' lies had broken. Some days were harder than others, but at least the pain was honest now. I kept thinking, how could parents do this? How could love twist into control so easily? I realized something. My revenge wasn't about hurting them. It was about taking my voice back. About showing that no one, not even family, has the right to decide who deserves to love me. For years, I'd mistaken obedience for respect. But that night, I learned that silence only feeds manipulation. So I spoke. I exposed. I walked away. And I never looked back. Maybe forgiveness will come someday. But for now, I'm okay with distance, the kind that feels like peace instead of punishment. Because sometimes freedom is the sweetest revenge. A year later, Ethan and I moved to Oregon, a small coastal town where no one knew our story. We opened a little cafe by the boardwalk. I named it Second Sunrise. Some mornings, as I serve coffee to strangers, I catch myself smiling for no reason. Not because life is perfect, but because it's mine again. My parents tried to reach out a few times. Letters, voicemails, even mutual friends. I never replied. They wanted control. I chose peace. I learned to rebuild from ashes, to trust again, slowly, one day at a time. Ethan forgave more easily than I did. He says anger is heavy, and he's done carrying it. Maybe one day, I'll feel the same. But when I look back, I don't see tragedy anymore. I see transformation. The woman who once begged for love now owns her freedom. And every sunrise outside that cafe window reminds me, truth always rises too. Sometimes, the most painful betrayal doesn't come from enemies. It comes from the people who raised you to trust them. I lost my parents that year, but I found myself. And if you've ever been lied to, manipulated, or made to doubt your own reality, remember this. You don't owe anyone your silence. Because revenge isn't always about hurting them. Sometimes it's about reclaiming you. What would you have done if you were in my place? Would you forgive? Or would you fight back for the truth? Tell me in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe for more real stories like mine.